At 5 months, I found out that Preston's condition was transposition of the great arteries, meaning that his arteries were switched in his heart.
I didn't even know it existed, and to hear something wrong with the heart was devastating.
When he was 3 years old, we went to a restaurant, and he said his stomach hurt. I took him out of the chair and I put him on the ground, and he collapsed on the floor. He had a massive hole in his heart, and it was the kind that wouldn't close.
She was born with a heart that was pretty much unlike anything they had ever seen before. So they decided to do a two-step operation, and the man for the job was Dr. Q.
Before he developed the arterial switch procedure, the outcomes for babies born with transposition of the great arteries was grim. You didn't operate on them, they would all die within a year, all of them.
We hear about other people going through these experiences, but never us. We're never that family. And this time we were. We were that family. We were the family that almost lost our child.
I said goodbye to him in the operating room, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to see him again.
Dr. Q is really considered as a surgeon's surgeon. He's been at the top of his profession for 25 years, and his outcomes have been better than 99.9% of other surgeons.
Dr. Quagabor thought of just being creative enough to think out of the box and do a surgery that he believed would help in keeping the child out of the operating room for some time. Many of the families that I take care of had Dr. Quagabor as their surgeon of their child from when they were babies, as they're not going to let any other surgeon in the chest of their child. It's an awesome thing to see and hear from patients who absolutely trust their child's heart in the hands of Dr. Quagabor.
My fondest memory of him was coming out after Dorothy had had her surgery, and him very briefly shaking my hand and saying, "Everything's fine," and walking away. Direct, to the point, and exactly the news that I wanted to hear.
He gets the job done, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted someone to tell me it was going to be okay.
He knew what he was doing, and it felt great. Even after the surgery, when we were able to see him again, I was able to give him a hug and a kiss. This is the person that, that saved my son's life.
It takes world-class surgeons and cardiologists and people building a program so that we can keep the momentum and move us into the future. Kamara Targoff is one of our junior faculty who is a basic science researcher, and she's working with something called zebrafish. They can determine what genes are associated with what cardiac malformation. It's the research from 10 years ago that has allowed the therapies of today. It's the research today that will allow the cures for tomorrow. And it's really the Baby's Heart Fund that will allow that to happen.
The care was amazing at Columbia. Every nurse and every person that came through to speak to us, every doctor, they were wonderful. They made it what it should have been, the birth of our child. And then the other stuff became secondary.
How do you say thank you to a hospital or a doctor or staff of people that completely went far and beyond any care that I've ever seen?
Columbia has been a godsend for me. I really do believe that I moved to New York for certain things. Maybe it was because I was one day to have a child and needed the most amazing care that the world had to offer, and it's here at Columbia.
Having him now, it really is amazing. The scar doesn't even bother me, actually. It reminds me how to appreciate everything, to appreciate people who work as hard as Dr. Quagabor did.
Over a 30-year career, operating on 200 to 300 kids a year, you can imagine how many kids he saved, and a lot of them would not have been saved had then been operated on by another surgeon. And that's, I think, the defining thing about Dr. Quagabor is his technical excellence and his outstanding results.
I remember holding his hand and crying to him and basically saying, these are the hands that held my son's heart.
I feel so good. My medical issue never interfered with my dancing, so that's why I feel so normal.
Dr. Q gave me a hope for him, and I don't think the word appreciate is the word I'm looking for. We're indebted.
I got to take home the gold because of Dr. Quagabor, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
take a baby who has a lethal condition, you operate on them, and at the end of this process, they have normal quality of life, normal lifespan. They are just like normal kids.